there's unseen progress that you just do not see. Because that is the cocoon. That is where you become the butterfly. I love this story. Okay. Welcome to Her Radiant Life. My name is Andrea Gal, and I am so happy that you're here today to join me in a heart-to-heart chat. Here we grow together. We have encouragement and authentic conversations. And if you enjoy this kind of vibe, I would love for you to subscribe and come back next time as well. And the time after, ongoing, really. Do you ever feel like you are trying? You're trying consistently. You are doing things consistently, putting in the work, planting the seeds, and you don't see any growth. It is like nothing's happening. It kind of feels like you're doing nothing, even though you are doing the things. You haven't seen the outcome. Nothing looks like it's actually moving. You start asking yourself, is this even worth doing? Can I continue with this? What if nothing actually comes out of this in the end? And so I want to encourage you today, and I have a few stories to tell you that will really encourage you in this process of planting and waiting for growth. This is the part that a lot of people don't talk about with growth. You see success in other people, and they really don't often talk about this quiet place of discouragement. And I know I've felt it before many times for many, many years. And yet I don't hear about that. I see either people who aren't really wanting to grow or move out of where they are in life in one area. And then I see the super successful people who are moving forward and doing what they want in life and growing continually and financially abundant. And in this middle part, we don't really talk about it that much. But this middle part is like the most important part because that is the cocoon. That is where you become the butterfly. That is the quiet time. That is when there's nothing flashy happening. You just have to grow and continue being faithful in that time. Continue planting, continue watering, continue waiting in faith that what you're doing and what you're planting is going to bear fruit and it is going to grow. I have been in that time in the middle for a very long time. I think I'm just about to break out of that, and there are little things that give me little winks that yes, I'm about to break out. I feel like I'm finally very aligned in my path on YouTube, and I have very exciting and clear visions for the future, and I cannot wait to tell you about them. But in that waiting, between the time basically that my parents passed away when I was 27 and now when I'm 44, I give myself grace. I was grieving the loss of my parents. I was grieving my divorce because a year after my parents passed away, I met a guy. A year later, we got married, and a year and a half later, he left. I had a lot of things to work through. I had a lot of trauma and grief to work through. But that was that quiet middle part where I was like, nothing's happening. But I'm going to tell you a story and show you that things are happening during the quiet time, during the disciplined, faithful time. I want to encourage you with this story. I love this story. Okay, here goes. When you plant a Chinese bamboo tree seed, you have this beautiful area where this tree is going to grow and it's going to be this wonderful tree, and you've planted it and you water it daily and the sun is shining on it, and you go out and you look and nothing's happening. And a week later you go out and you look and nothing's happening. And months later you go out and you look and nothing's happening. But you keep watering it. It's in the sunshine. You think, I'm pretty sure this is going to grow. Then a year goes by. Nothing. You don't even see the tiniest little bit growing. Then 2 years. Then 3 years. Then 4 years. Then 5 years. I'm talking 1,825 days approximately. 5 years goes by and you don't see anything. You planted that seed 5 years ago. Think about what you were doing 5 years ago and how long ago that was. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, oh, I love the all of a sudden. It's not really all of a sudden, because all of that time you were faithful, waiting for the seed to grow and watering it and allowing it sunshine and waiting for it to do what it needed to do, which was creating an intricate root system during those 5 years so that it could hold what was about to happen. And what was about to happen at that 5-year mark, in 5 weeks or so, it shoots up 80 feet. 80 feet in 5 weeks after 5 years of absolutely nothing. How amazing is that, to parallel that to our lives, right? Like, that's exactly it. We can have a goal and a vision and a purpose, and we know that that's what we're called to do. And we put in the time, we put in the discipline, we do the thing, we are faithful, and yet we see nothing for years. Well, then there's the all of a sudden. All of a sudden, all of that time that the roots were creating an intricate system under the ground where you couldn't see it, those are there so that when it shoots up the 80 feet, which is like 8 stories, by the way. If you think of, I'm on the 3rd floor and it seems really high up, 8 stories high is the bamboo tree in 5 weeks. After 5 years of nothing. Nothing that you could see. That's the key. That root system was so important because without it, then when it did shoot up, it would fall over if it didn't have that root system. And as exhausting as those 5 years are sometimes, when you're planting and watering and waiting and praying and wondering, is this actually even doing anything? It's necessary for the growth. It's necessary for the foundation. It's necessary for the roots to solidify under the soil, or solidify in your heart or your personality or your belief system, or all the things that actually apply to you as a person when you're doing these things. So that when it does shoot up and you do rise into that next level of life and you shoot up that 80 feet, you can hold that. You can hold that blessing. You have that foundation for that blessing. You have the foundation for the business to rise up, for the husband to come in, for whatever it is that you've been working on and waiting for. And you will be able to do it well because you took that time to create a foundation. You didn't force it. You didn't dig it up and try and push it up off the ground. That wouldn't work anyway, by the way. But you didn't try those things. You just kept watering it, kept waiting, kept being faithful day in and day out. So that's the Chinese bamboo tree. Now I want to tell you another thing, which is pretty awesome. Now this is awesome for an analogy and to give you hope. It's not awesome for R.U. Darby. Now Darby was someone in the late 1800s, just after the Colorado Gold Rush. He bought a mine and he bought all this equipment, and he and his uncle followed a vein of gold until it disappeared. He really thought that he was going to hit gold. He followed this vein and he was like, okay, it's coming. Like, this big amount of gold is coming. We're going to follow this tiny little vein of gold. And all of a sudden the gold ran out and it stopped. And so they gave up. They had had weeks of trying and putting in time and money and equipment and excitement. And then they were like, okay, it's done. So Darby walked away from it. He sold it to a junk dealer. Now, the junk dealer didn't know what he was doing, so he hired an engineer. And this engineer looked at it, and what he found was that there was a fault line. And so what had happened is the vein of gold had shifted because of the fault line in this part of the earth. And he refound the vein, and it happened to be a main vein of gold, and they struck gold. Hugely struck gold. Poor Darby. Okay, here's the thing. That vein, the one that the engineer and the junk dealer found compared to where Darby had left off, was 3 feet away. 3 feet feet away from where he was. He wasn't in the wrong area. He wasn't doing the wrong thing. He wasn't being frivolous and silly that he thought that there was going to be something. It was there. It was there. And he gave up right before he struck gold. Do not give up 3 feet away from the gold. Can you imagine at the end of your life when what I think possibly happens is you meet the person, that you could have been, that you should have been, and how your story could have gone and should have gone? And can you imagine being shown that you gave up something 3 feet away from the blessing? 3 feet away from the gold? Oh, how heartbreaking would that be? Because that striking gold or that finding the blessing 3 feet away or right in front of where you are right now would have changed the trajectory of your life and likely your descendants' lives as well. Because this isn't just about us. This is about when we follow in our destiny and we go the way that we're supposed to go, we affect the people around us. If we're happy and abundant and financially free and healthy and all these things, and we're doing things that impact other people, then it's not just our life that changes, it's the people around us. So not only are you stopping yourself from that goodness and that blessing and that gold, but the people around you and your children and your children's children, or your nieces and nephews if you don't have kids, or whoever it is, or your associates if you have a business, or your siblings, your parents, your friends. Don't stop 3 feet away from the gold. I love this little meme. I've seen it a few times pop up, and I didn't know the story about Darby before this. Now, he became famous in the early 1900s in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. That's where this story of the gold got famous. And he learned his lesson with the gold, and he ended up becoming wealthy because he learned. So if this has happened to you before, don't worry. We get more chances. You're still here. You got another chance. But don't continue it for the rest of your life. Don't stop 3 feet from the gold. So what am I saying? What do these two stories say? With the bamboo tree, there's unseen progress that you just do not see when you're doing the thing, planting the seeds, watering them, waiting, praying, being consistent. And with the gold, you're being consistent and you're trying and you're going the way you think you're supposed to go, but don't give up. Don't give up. Actually, both of those things say, don't give up before you see the gold, before the bamboo tree shoots out of the ground to 80 feet high. Don't give up. I do think it's important to take stock of where you are in your life. So if you had a goal 5 years ago that just doesn't feel good anymore, and not because of the perseverance part of it, and not because of the waiting part of it, but you actually don't feel aligned with that anymore, and it's not something that you're going to feel fulfilled in, then reassess and move forward with something that does align with who you are and what you want. However, if you made a goal 5 years ago or several years ago or whenever, and it's feeling like it's hard because you haven't seen the outcome that you want yet, but you still feel like that's what you want, don't give up. Don't give up before the gold. Don't give up before the bamboo tree flies out of the ground. That kind of seems like what it is. Flying out of the ground. I want to see this. I actually want to see this happen. Sadly, though, I don't think bamboo trees grow in Canada. So I can't test this out myself, but I do think it's a pretty amazing analogy of life. So if you feel like you're behind, you're not. If you feel like you can't see the fruits of your labor yet, it does not mean it's not coming. If you feel like nothing's happening as you're doing the discipline thing in that quiet middle, it is happening. What's happening is that root system underneath is being prepared, is growing, is becoming a foundation for what is coming for you. Don't walk away right before the bamboo tree shoots out of the ground. And don't walk away 3 feet away from the gold. All right. I hope this encouraged you. And if you are encouraged, I would love for you to subscribe so that we can have more conversations like this as we grow and have faith and share the wisdom of life together. Just remember, as you're doing those things, the daily things that feel mundane, but take you to the growth, you are getting a new identity, a new version of you. The perseverance is creating character in you. And you are building a foundation for what's to come, which is going to be amazing. Thank you for being here, Her Radiant Life. Go out, be a blessing, and rise into your radiance. Much love. Bye.